Venerable S Dheman ji, Padma Shri, Harbans ji, JP Singh ji, Colonel Raina, and Suman Jamwal, HOD, AC Department, and many other guests, ladies and gentlemen, and you all lovely Dogra boys and girls. Now the question is, whether should we be talking in Dogri or should you be talking in Hindi? How many of you think over here that I can't talk in Dogri? Please put your hands up. Yeah, I knew. It came from you only. और मैं ओपड़ी डोगरी बोल रही है, तो सिर्फ राइज में लपड़ी, ठीक है? 42 years outside Jammu, but still I can speak good Dogri. Okay. Now the point is, कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी भारत एक है, which is got changed to काराकोरम से कन्याकुमारी भारत एक है. Well, fantastic modification. कश्मीर भारत का मुकुट है. अब इसको क्या बोलोगे? काराकोरम भारत का मुकुट है, जम्मू कश्मीर भारत का मुकुट है. अब ये मुकुट आपको दिया किसने? ये मुकुट आपको दिया किसने? ये मुकुट बनाया किसने? इसका मैन्युफैक्चरर कौन था? इसको सजाने वाला कौन था? और अल्टीमेटली इसको देने वाला कौन था? और इसको पाकिस्तान से बचाने वाला कौन था? सो ऑल दीज क्वेश्चंस, ये सारे सवाल थोड़े मने च होने चाहिए. But I think there are some people who probably won't understand Dogri, so let me not fully go on to that. बीच में चक्कर मारते रहेंगे. And then you say the person who gave you the mukut or who made for you, he is Napoleon of India. Why? Why is Napoleon of India? Why can't Zorawar be Napoleon of you can call Napoleon Zorawar of Europe? But शायद वो पहले पैदा हो गए, इसलिए शायद ये हो गया. So all these controversies kept happening because we knew there's somebody called Zorawar Singh. But we always thought he was inferior to Napoleon, he was inferior to Alexander, जो आज किताब आपके सामने पढ़ी है, मेरे को भी आज ही मिली है. In fact, we knew it earlier. Alexander was defeated by Porus, and that entire thing is in the form of a book. And it was told to me, at least. I was in Indian Military Academy when a defense minister of Russia came, and he told us, what are you talking? अगर अलेक्जेंडर विनर होता तो वो क्या वापस जाता? उसका जो जनरल था सेल्यूकस, वो अपनी बेटी की शादी चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के साथ करता. This should have been the other way around. So anyway, those are the questions which should be in your mind. And people have written more than 200,000, 2 lakh books. I googled it in the morning. Me and Jamal were sitting. Google says more than 200,000 books on Napoleon. And General Zorawar की number of books, it doesn't exist. तो गिन के हम 4, 5, 6, 7 ही गिन सके. Why so? कि डोगरे पढ़ते लिखते नहीं हैं. And of course, it has already been brought out in the morning that it is always the winner who writes books. If the king of lion, that is king of jungle, that is lion, did not have good scribes, then whenever history would be written, it will always be written in favor of the hunter. So that the same thing was brought out in the morning. So probably we was vanquished at the end of it, and nobody wrote about it, nobody talked about it. And then of course British, and then our Nehru Abdullah access of Kashmir-centric governments in Jammu or whatever. So this thing has to be dispelled. Now at this time I am here before you to speak about General Zorawar Singh, and let me confess in front of you, whatever I had to speak has already been spoken. In fact, I don't think I may have a couple of more incidents to tell, but entire text of my paper has already been given out. Now I have only one thing left to give you, and that is the maps. Whatever Colonel Raina told you और हरबंस सर ने आपको जो कुछ बताया, वही सारी बातें मैं आपको मैप पे बताऊंगा. It is exactly the same thing, not much of a variation. Now we talking about now this is the erstwhile or makers, preservers, and the people who handed over the thing to India, the J&K state we talk about. And next about 20 minutes, I shall be covering the study of Dogra campaigns led by General Zorawar Singh, the Dogra warrior. And I shall try and compare them with the other campaigns in the world, as I mentioned already. Alexander, Napoleon, Maharaja Ranjit Singh for that matter, Maharana Pratap, or even Shivaji Maharaj. We all proud of all these guys, at least the Indian ones. But we have to tell the world, look, our general, a Dogra general, or whatever you might call Indian general, was not inferior to these other three personalities in any way, rather maybe a shade superior to them. So I shall be covering this under the following heads. A profile has already been covered generally, and a touch upon the Ladakh campaign, followed by Baltistan campaign, and then Tibetan campaign, and final Treaty of Kyushu of 1842, and finally bit of a comparison, which it is not possible for me to do in this particular time, but I will just stoke your minds, feed your mind with some kind of a feeling that you should be looking for all this. Now, strategic importance of this place. We all been talking that people came, all the raiders came, they came from Central Asia, they came from Persia, and all sorts of places. But why is this place so important? Now, so this is your J&K. This is, and from there the mountain ranges emanate. One is the Tianjin, which goes into China. Second is Kunlun. Third is Karakoram, and then is the Himalayas. And the other side, Hindu Kush into Afghanistan. Now, why I am telling you is this: we must understand what is the significance of this particular region. Why it is not happening, same thing did not happen in Odisha, why it did not happen in, let's say, Northeast or other places. So, if you see this, these dotted lines were the routes which were taken by the traders to do trade. Like you have already been told, Pashmina, Pashm, wool and the tea, which was being transported from, let's say, China, Tibet, into Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan, and then into your Afghanistan, Persia, and into Europe, and northwards towards Asia. To see it a little more distinctly, these yellow Pamir Knot, and bounded by the lofty mountains, 15,000 to 20,000 above mean sea level, was the one who would control the entire route trade. And that was, again, one of the very important assets for any empire to build. So that was the implication of this particular place. And even more so, areas next to that full of oil, which was being controlled by the British then, and they had to be wary of Russians on top. So there was a rivalry of all kinds of empires. And even next point, even for that matter, Russians wanted to have access to the warm water ports. So that was the importance of this particular area. Now, before we go on to the campaign proper, just a word about General Zorawar. Simple human being, you already been told, uneducated in modern sense, used to live on a very frugal pay, was a strict disciplinarian, never looted, never plundered any captured territories. Whenever he captured something, he ensured that the masses are kept intact, they are not harassed, and the rule was given back to those chieftains who surrendered in front of him. And he always had respect for the vanquished and ensured the locals after the victory always. No harassment to locals at all, and he respected the women and never destroyed any religious places, rather built many forts as well as Buddhist monasteries wherever he went there. And exemplary punishment to the rebels. Now this is a point where, like it was mentioned in the morning also, that British historians or English historians, they always call him barbaric, brute, because the punishments were really real brute to as far as the rebels were concerned. He would cut their tongues, he would cut their arms, he would cut their legs, and all kinds of things would be done. So that is why they had a reason to sort of project him in that particular manner. And as it was brought out in the morning, that it was the narrative of the victor. You know, unfortunately we weren't. So that is how this thing was there. And then he was an astute warrior, a master strategist. We were talking about the question of the motivation for him to go there. We discussed a lot motivation, which I will be mentioning during my lecture. But the basic thing is he himself was a master strategist. He knew the geography, he knew the history, he knew the intelligence, he knew how to do things. He knew what would benefit Maharaja Gulab Singh's Raja of Jammu. How would the state of Jammu and Kashmir would be formed? The hill kingdom of Jammu, as it has been called, would be formed. So that was his this thing. And he fought all this, led Dogra army over this terrain, over the routes where even today we don't go there. Even today we don't have those routes ready, though the efforts are being made to make them. He led the Dogra army 6 times over there. And this is all above 15,000, 20,000 feet and above. And those were the places where population from the plains, basically Dogra warriors were all from the plains. It was very difficult for them to operate there in those kind of altitudes and those kinds of, there were no roads. The routes to be taken, climbing up and down, crossing the mountain ranges, Himalayan to Karakoram, to Zanskar and things like that. So, and then rarefied oxygen. Even if you're a fit human being, your efficiency of your body goes down considerably. And that is why, if you remember, if a few of you have been to Leh, the moment you land up at Leh, you're told to rest there for 48 hours for acclimatization. Otherwise, you might have a high blood pressure and things like that. So imagine what was happening in those times. And of course, no logistics terrain at all. There's nothing like that moment your war is on for a particular period, you will be reinforced with a reinforcement. Nothing of those sorts. All the rations, ammunitions, guns, everything had to be self-contained, carried on ponies, and not for 1 or 2 days, for years together. And of course, use of local resources. So this was the kind of this thing he was there. Now, what was the situation before when he became the governor of Kishtwar? By the way, when in 1820, when 1822, Maharaja Gulab Singh was present at Jayapota, at that time Kishtwar was not with us. Kishtwar was conquered later by Zorawar himself. And somebody was asking me a question in the break. There is a story which may be of interest to you. There were a lot of guys who were opposing General Zorawar even within the kingdom of Raja Gulab Singh. दरबार में बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे थे जो उनसे जेलसी करते थे. तो उन्होंने बोला जोरावर को भेजो किश्तवाड़ जीतने के लिए. तो पीछे से किसी ने बोला महाराज उन्हें केड़े न्योले फड़िए ले आने. न्योले मीन्स एलिगेटर्स. उन्हें केड़े न्योले फड़िए ले आने. तो this was told to him after he won and he came back. When he came to the darbar and he projected all the tributes and whatever he had won from there, it was presented to Maharaja Gulab Singh. Then he had a train of about, I'm told, 16 alligators, where everybody has a velvet bag and there was a diamond inside that on their backs, and they were paraded in front of Maharaja. कि नेवले पकड़े भी और उनको ट्रेन भी कर लिया. So this is what kind of a thing he tried to show. Anyway, so he became governor. Now the situation was, there was a wool trade, as Harbans sir has already told you. चाय का ट्रेड, पश्मीना का ट्रेड, वो ब्रिटिश ने जो ट्रीटी ऑफ समूगली थी 1816 की, उसमें वो ले लिया हुआ था. And they were diverting it towards Bushehr and Spiti and which is the other place, the one more in Himachal. So he had to get that thing back there. So that was one thing which was lurking in his mind. And second, of course, they would have to capture Kashmir also. So the only option was they go and capture areas east of Kashmir and north of Kashmir. So that was one of the lurking desires to get Ladakh into their territory, other than the commercial interests. Now over here, once Kashmir was won by Sikh forces in 1819. Am I right? 1819. So at that time, when the governor was being appointed, Raja Gulab Singh told Maharaja Ranjit Singh, अभी वो जम्मू के राजा भी नहीं बने थे, बोला ये कश्मीर की जो जागीर है ये आप मुझे दीजिए. क्योंकि after Ahmad Shah Durrani left, he of course came back again, he gave this Jageer to brother of Raja Ranjit Dev, which was Raja Gulab Singh's family, the same dynasty, the two lineages. So he made his claim on that. So this was always in the mind of Raja Gulab Singh and later on General Zorawar, we have to get Kashmir. Or if Sikh Empire becomes disintegrates, in that case, where will Kashmir go? It should be part of our kingdom. So that thought, that foresight, that diplomacy, that strategy was always there in the mind. And we should have a hill state. And as explained to you by General Rana and Harbans sir also, there were British on the south, there were British on the west towards Afghanistan, and this was in their mind So if they have to if they become a hill kingdom and they have to lean on somebody, this was earliest kingdom was king of Nepal, and so they must have a common border with them. So probably this could be a motivation for him to go and capture Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan and Tibet. So this is my analysis on that. So when all this is in his mind, suddenly what happens is so he got an opportunity to go for the Ladakh campaign. Now Ladakh campaign, this is Kishtwar, this is Suru Valley, Puri district, and this is your Parshikar or Sword district, and this is Leh. Raja of Timbis, who was here, and Raja of Sword, they had a quarrel between them, and Sword chap subjugated Timbis. And at that time they also had a big famine. So treasury of Kishtwar, Wazaarat, was always suffering. So Raja of Timbis approached General Zorawar, please help me against the aggression of, he was the cousin only, they were all basically part of the Ladakhi royal family. And initially they told the Gyalpo of Leh, look, this is what has happened with me. He didn't listen to him, so he turned towards General Zorawar. So he got a chance to invade. So he started his campaign, Ladakh campaign, started from Kishtwar, went into the Sunu river, into Suru valley, to Sword, and then to Kishtwar. Now how it happened, little detail. Initial campaign, entered the Suru valley, and the king of Sword attacked him, but they were beaten back. Dogra beat them and captured. And then they got reinforcement from Leh, and Leh forces attacked Dogras. Dogras again defeated them, and that was at a place called Sunku. This was the place. This is the Ladakhi army was captured. So the entire region was captured by the Dogra army. So that time he made a fort at Khatse. This fort was to make a very important sort of a thing for him later in the campaign. So this much was captured. Now, moment this was done, the chieftains in Ladakh, chieftains in Ladakh came and they tried to make peace with him. They said, okay, tell us what are your conditions for you to go back and spare us. So he told them, all right, you become my vassals and give me a tribute and revenue, etc. Made a demands. So those guys went back to Ladakh, but the queen of Ladakh, I can't pronounce the name, Chichi or something, Sipi or something, she refused. She said nothing doing. And she sent another force. She sent the force back to Zorawar, go get his head or get yourself beheaded. यानी कि उसको मारो या खुद मर जाओगे. So when they came back, they did what actually they tried to sort of cut off the route, logistic route of General Zorawar. But again, a master stroke from General Zorawar, he did in a manner that he fell back to Khatse. And that's how he saved them. By the time it was, I think, October of 1834. Winters had settled. So he spent the rest of the winter there only. And in the spring next year, again the Ladakhi army attacked them. And they defeated them in detail. And that was the time Ladakhi said, all right, we surrender. And that entire area was under Zorawar. And then General Zorawar, actually I am not a habit of seeing this. Captured all the areas, Shergol, Mulbek, etc., everything. Conquest was complete. And then he moved towards Leh. And at Basgo, he found Gyalpo sitting over there with his wife. And they were not expecting him to come there at all at that particular time. So he took, the truce was there. He took them to Leh. And over there, the incident that took place was, Dogri mein bolte hain, banda karna. So he tried to do that banda with some Ashrafis on the king's son. So they thought that he's trying to kill him or something. So, there was a bit of a incident which was created and which was settled later. So ultimately, the Leh became a vassal of Jammu Kashmir. He installed Gyalpo there as the commander, and he started coming back. On his way back again, he had a problem in Sword district. They had revolted. He again crushed them, and then he came back. And then, moment he had come back, again, I've lost the track of slides. Okay. So, moment he had come back, the Gyalpo, there was an incident, Ahmad Shah who was Raja of Skardu. He had some succession to his elder son, Muhammad Shah. And instead he chose Muhammad Ali to be his successor. So Muhammad Shah revolted, he ran and took refuge with Gyalpo of Leh. And initially Gyalpo of Leh said, alright, you be my guest, we will be able to defeat Raja of Skardu. But later on, the courtiers advised Gyalpo of Leh that don't do this, please return us back to Ahmad Shah as a prisoner, which he did. So Ahmad Shah came in support of Gyalpo. So with his support, he went on for another mutiny. And this time when Zorawar came to know that mutiny is happening, and this was time again, month of September, August, September. So at that particular time, there was not enough time for him to go back to Leh on the same route which he had tread earlier. So this was the third time he crossed over from Zanskar, route was not known. And there was a guy called Midi Sate. He was a local chap who guided the entire army, and in correct time, 10 days time, this army was at Leh. And then the moment they landed at Leh, that guy Gyalpo was not expecting the Dogra army at all, because in this short time they cannot come. This is another master strategy of Zorawar for the second time he had done. So they reached there, they removed Gyalpo, and they put a guy called I have a Muri Tadzi. Now one book says Muri Tadzi and another one says Stenson something. So I really don't know what is the name. But nevertheless, this guy was appointed as a governor, as a vassal of Jammu state, and then they tried to come back. And on their way back again, they had to defeat all the kind of rebellions on a way back also. But ultimately, the entire Ladakh was captured, and it was presented to Jammu Darbar as a vassal, wherein these guys were staying there. But son of Raja Gulab Singh, I think Khadak Singh unka naam tha, he did not agree with this appointment of Muri Tadzi. He said you must be removed as fast as possible. And then they got a chance that he also revolted. So again, they undertook this thing for Ladakh. And then Muri Tadzi was also defeated. And finally Ladakh they said now you are part of the Principality of Jammu. You are no more a vassal state, and you put your own guy as a governor of that place. So this is how the Ladakh conquest was complete. Now thereafter, he was looking for what next. Now again situation at that particular time, before the Baltistan canteen, there was an anti-Dogra stir in Lahore, which we already been told. And then there was another British three-party agreement in 1839. This was just before the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, I guess. I haven't got the conclusive proof. But this was this was again to show that British had no interest towards the north and northeast. Though they were in talks with the Chinese, they did not want to annoy the Chinese. You have already been told about the opium war that was going on. So we are clear about that. But here also, if you want to complete the complete trade, which was going through Kashmir so far, now Ladakh is yours. The next was Baltistan, Gilgit route, because that was the route I showed you earlier also. So there was a need to conquer that. And then he had to settle the score also with our friend Raja of Skardu, that is Ahmad Shah. So then, and of course possible capture of Kashmir, So then they again planned this campaign. They, again the strategist mind of Zorawar, he knew if he moves from here towards Baltistan with the Dogra army, the Ladakhis behind might again revolt. So he took Ladakhi army with me, put them on one axis, and which was through Chorbatala towards Skardu, and the other axis, which was along the river Indus, he took his own Dogra army. Now the axis which was taken by the Ladakhi army was well covered, there was no problem at all, and the other one, Skardu, with about 20,000 men, and they defeated them. So Raja of Skardu retreated back and made his headquarters at a place called Marol. It was a high ground on the bank of the bank of Indus River. So once the Dogra armies proceeded further, they wanted to cross over Indus to attack Marol, but they destroyed all the bridges. So that became a big problem. So initially, Zorawar sent me and Nidan Singh, a party with them, to go and look for a place. For 20 days they were looking for a place. Unfortunately, what happened was, one of the nights, they were camping in a place next to the river, which had a very steep cliff behind them. And there were only two routes. One was ingress and one was outgress route from there. Unfortunately, the troops of Raja of Skardu, they came and they threw stones on top of them at night, and as a result, a complete force was decimated. They neither could escape from this side or that side, and some of them had to jump into the river and all, so they were decimated. So next thing is Colonel Mehta Basti Ram, a force was sent with him. So he made the local Dards as friends, Dardistan. And Dard guys told him that there is a crossing point where the river gets frozen. So with the help of those guys, they took the frozen river, selected a place for the frozen river, they put logs, then ice, likewise made a bridge and crossed over and attacked Marol army of Raja Skardu from behind, again achieving full surprise and decimated them. And then he captured the entire area and they went on for Skardu, captured Skardu, put his elder son Muhammad Shah as the ruler of that place and came back. So, and this is how the Baltistan also became our party. Now was the Tibet. I think I've been already told that I've overstayed time. And Tibet, I'm running through my slides. Situation now. The ambitions of Hill Kingdom were coming up because there was a utter chaos in the Lahore Darbar after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. You all are aware of it. And possible opposition which could come from Lahore, they were not in a position, or could from British, they were already busy in Afghanistan and Burma, or Chinese from the north, and those guys were busy in the Opium War. So this was a perfect time to attack Tibet. And why they wanted to attack Tibet? Of course, for reasons of trade. Secondly, it has already been brought out your quest for having Mansarovar and Mount Kailash into your own territory. That has already been spoken. And then another thing was, in 1600 to 1650, the 50 years, odd years, the entire the kingdom of Ladakh, they had their territories right till Nepal. All this was part of their territory. So they tried working out how to do it, took permission, nahi mila, lot of things happened. British diplomacy carried on because they were available on the sides. So anyway, finally they said we will go for it, three-pronged attack. One prong was selected from Leh, and they was to come to Gartik along with Spiti and Lahore and Rambushar area. Second was through onto Ghatok, and third was this thing. So now here also again, he did not go alone with the Dogra army. He took Ladakhis as well as Baltis also now with him. So Baltistan army, that Ahmad Shah, that Muslim ruler, he was given to capture. I'll just tell you. Yeah, he was given to capture Chumurti, Chaprang, Daba, Toling, and come to Ghatok. Now this guy went, captured everything, and this was next to the British Empire, British Punjab, or even Khalsa Punjab, which was there, and he kept destroying, killing Hindus, destroying all temples, monasteries, whatever he fought. I mean, he was true tenets of Islam. Later on, he was punished very badly once the battle was lost. So he reached in time. Then second one was the Ladakhi army, which also reached in time. And third one was this thing. So they had a lot of skirmishes. I got the chit already. So anyway, this was captured. Now, after the Ghatok, there were three districts. One was the Rudok district, the Ghatok district, and third was the Nari district. The Rudok district was captured by the Dogra forces, and captured ho gaya, Ghatok pahunch gaye. Now was the battle for Mansarovar. So they went to Mansarovar. Moment they were here, of course they kept decimating people en route at one place called Tokopurol. Now there were three river nalas in front of that before they could have gone to Mount Kailash. So over there in the evening, they were all sitting down and decided that look, we have come on a pilgrimage, so no bloodshed. Do not try to let any enemy come to you. But unfortunately that night, the Tibetan army which had crossed over from Mayun Pass attacked them at night, and it was pitch dark. And उस darkness में they could not find कि कौन किसका आदमी है, दुश्मन कौन है, अपना कौन है. So suddenly Zorawar Singh's mind worked out an idea at that time. So he told all his men, he said, जब भी कोई बंदा सामने आए, बोलो जम्मू राज की जय. और अगर वो जम्मू वाला है डोगरा तो तुमने जवाब देना है शीतला माता की जय. So this sloganeering, came good, and ultimately they defeated those guys and killed them, and then they went for pilgrimage. Shitang fort banaya, Mehta Basti naam was put over there. Kurang district was almost under their control. Now the British diplomacy, which has already been told to you by Harbans sir ने बताया, so their guy came and he told Jal Zorawar, he said, look, अभी तुम ऐसा करो, बर्फ पड़ने वाली है, चाइनीज आर्मी है, तिब्बतन आर्मी जो है वो इकट्ठी हो रही है मयूर पास के ईस्टर्न साइड में. सो इफ यू डू नॉट गो बैक, यू कम बैक, तो दे विल किल यू. वेदर इज नॉट राइट टू क्रॉस एंड गो टू लासा, दे आर वेटिंग ओवर देयर. और इनको बोला कि आप वापस जाइए. तो ही स्टार्टेड मूविंग बैक एंड ही कैम्प्ड एट तीरथपुरी. और वहाँ पे ही डिसाइडेड इफ आई गो बैक इट विल बी अ रॉयल डैम्पनर फॉर माय आर्मी. And if I don't go back, I will be decimated. So he sent messages for reinforcement. वो कब मिले, कैसे मिले, nobody knows. Did send some forces which could not cross because of this thing. So he was left alone. And he told the Chinese, look, he is there. Don't wait for the winters to get over. So he played a double game, Chinese division के साथ. So you attack him right now. So they attacked Chithang fort to sort of evict Dogra forces from that fort. So now General Zorawar had to save Chithang fort, his forces. So initially he sent a couple of campaigns, they were not successful. Finally he said, okay, attack is the best defense. If we don't kill them there, they'll kill us. So he led the campaign towards Toyo. And over there in the morning, they went through first ambush, they broke it, but second ambush they could not break. And over there in that battle, he got killed, how you've already been told. And thereafter they made this chotan over there, and then जनरल जोरावर के एक जो बाल होता है बॉडी पे रोया होता है, इट वॉज टेकन, इट वॉज मेड इनटू तावीज एंड पुट इनटू द गलाज ऑफ यंग चिल्ड्रन. बड़ा हो गया, तावीज बना के बन हो गया. उनकी बॉडी के बॉडी इज नॉट देयर, देयर इज नो ग्रेव. बॉडी वॉज कट इनटू पीसेस एंड सोल्ड टू बी फेड टू द प्रेग्नेंट मदर्स, कि जो बच्चा पैदा होगा इसके जैसा ही बनेगा. बाकी others have told you the stories. General told you what he saw there when he went there. So this is how they made a samadhi. They do puja even today. And this is how the Battle of Toyo happened. Then Treaty of Shishul happened, wherein the boundaries are demarcated. So I said those records must be available in what you call archives in Jammu, Raja ki Mandi. They are biting dust. If MEA has some this thing in their mind, they should come and look up those records, see where all the revenues came, what boundaries were fixed, and then they should sort of negotiate with China. One of the friend of mine, General Pannu in Delhi, he said they have given lot of documents in their favor of their side of LSC, but we couldn't produce one. I said they're lying in Jammu, please come and take it. So this is all I have to tell you. दिखानी तो मैंने presentation थी, वो हो नहीं पाया for whatever reason. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thanks a lot.